Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be talking about conditional logic, the part two of it, and also indentation. Now, Python indentation is a basic element of the language syntax. It is used to define the structure of code blocks, for example, those inside loops, conditional statements, functions, and classes. Unlike the majority of other programming languages, which use braces to block code, Python employs consistent indentation to indicate which statements are to be executed. Now, I'll go to my Visual Studio straight. Now, I have two codes here that I'll be using to explain some things to you. Now, they are pre-written codes, but I'll just explain them line after line. Now, this code is meant to check if somebody is eligible to drive a car. Just like we know that countries have their rules and regulations regarding that. Now, in this particular video, there's a file I've created on my desktop which is called car.py. .py extension signifies a Python file. Now, in this code, I created a variable called present year and I equate it to 2025, which is this present year. Then I also have a variable that is called year of birth. Then I equated it to an input, that is the user will be allowed to input the year of birth. Now, the next line of code is age. Now, this age will be calculated based on the present year and the year of birth. That is, it will subtract the present year from the year of birth. It will subtract the year of birth from the present year. So it will give us the age of the user. Then I printed out the result, that is, this line of code will print out you are so age years old after the calculation from here. Now, the conditional statement here now is that if the user is equal to above 18 years, just like we have in Nigeria, you have to be above up to 18 years before you can start driving. And there are some other criteria like driver's license, your legal permit, and all that to drive. So now this condition says if the user is greater than or equal to 18 years, then the car should start so that the person can drive. But if not, that is else, the car should not start and the person will not be able to drive. And remember, in this video, I'm assuming that the car is using the Internet of Things, whereas you can control the car online. That is, somebody can monitor the car, somebody can control the car online, just like we have AI-driven cars these days. Now, these are conditional statements, but when you look at it, this print is not typed directly under this if. I indented it by pressing tab. I'm using Visual Studio, VS Code, as my code editor to write this code, and also the same thing applies to this else. They were tabbed. So if you don't put the right indentation, your code may not give you the kind of results you want. So indentation here now is the tab that I pressed now that gave me this space that you are seeing here. So the right indentation is very necessary when it comes to Python. And what does that signify? It means those code in that block should be executed together. Or that is, this code under this if statement should be executed. This statement under this else statement should be executed. So indentation in Python allows you to execute codes under the same block. It determines how they are executed. It determines how your code is structured. And if I'm going to run this code now, let me minimize this and open my command prompt. Now, this file that I called car.py file is saved on my desktop in a folder that I named online. So if I'm going to run this code now, I'll type Python as car.py, press enter. Now, as you know, in my previous video, I've made you to understand that Python executes code line after line. So here now is asking me what is your year of birth. Year of birth. So it's asking to impute. So let's say the year of birth is 1999. As you can see, it's calculated the age and it's saying you are 26 years old. You are allowed to drive. The car will start now. Just like the way we have it here, one after the other. And because the person is up to 18 years, the age is up to 18 years and above, the person is allowed to drive. The car will start. What if the person's age is not up to 18 years? Let me run the code again. As car dot by, let's say the person is born like, let's say 2015. As you can see, it says you are 10 years old. You are not allowed to drive. And that was exactly what we specified there, that if the person is not up to 18 years old, you should not be allowed to drive. And you can see you are not allowed to drive. So that's how conditional logic work. You can give it conditions. In the first part of the conditional logic video, I talked about if, if, and else. We have if. You can have as many if as you want, depending on the conditions you want to give to your code, and you can have else to close up the if statement. Now, this is just a simple part of the code to check if somebody is eligible to drive. What if you want to check more, want to make it more robust, like a country having a database where they have their national identity number, just like in Nigeria we have NIN, which is a national identity number that is registered with your name, with your fingerprint and everything. Because like this code now, the user can actually lie and put another year of birth that will be up to 18 or more than 18, and he or she will be allowed to drive, of which is underage. But with the next code I'll be showing you, we are assuming that in this code now, we are assuming that okay, government has registered your national ID card and your national identification number, and your identification number is attached to everything you do in the country. So once they get your national identification number, they can know where you live, they can know your gender, and so on, your age. Now, I'll be using my Excel, my system as a local database. Let's assume this is a country database. I have surname, first name, NIN, year of birth here, and I have their names and so on, their NIN numbers and their year of birth. Now, this is a local database. We can have more inputs depending on what you want to check. Now, in this code now, I'm using pandas because pandas is used to access database, whether .csv file or Excel file and so on. So I'm importing pandas as PD now because it's a dependency that I'll be needing in this code. So I'm importing pandas as PD. So instead of writing pandas in my code, I'll be writing PD. Now, I've done that, then I'm loading the Excel file. Now, this line of code, we load the Excel file that I have on this my system. Remember, this is just a local server that I'm using. In country, we have more, larger server where they have the data of their citizens and other persons that stays in that country. Now, after having the data, I have to normalize it. This code here will normalize my data like this def.columns. We check the names we have in the column, that is the headings, just like I have here, to check for surname, first name, NIN, year of birth. Whereas this dot stripe, we erase any white space that might be in that database. So in case maybe somebody press space or press it twice, or mistakes can happen. So this particular dot stripe, we correct that. Then this str.lower, we convert everything to lowercase. So because some people might be inconsistent, some databases might be inconsistent. So with this line of code, it will convert everything to lowercase, so that we don't have issues while using our data to analyze and so on. Remember, the pandas majorly it's used more in machine learning to structure your data well, for you to be able to clean, to pre-process it, to analyze it, even if you want to, and so on. But just because I'll be using it in this code, because I'm not talking about machine learning class here. We are not in a machine learning class. This is a just Python class, but because I'm using this dependency, that's why I'm mentioning pandas. But you use it very well when you get to machine learning. If you are learning machine learning or you are developing some models, some or even some AI models too. Now I have um, try and accept code block here. Now the essence of this try and accept is to check for errors. Now when you look at this try now, the next variable I'm creating is indented. The variable is indented. I'm creating present year equal to 2025, just like I have in this other code, present year 2025. I have this again here, and it will not change because I've already mentioned it here. It's not going to be imputed by any user. It's already in the code. Now the NIN underscore NIN. Now this NIN underscore, I used it to distinguish it from this particular NIN so that there won't be contradiction in the code. Now it's just a variable name. You can use anything depending on what you are doing. So the user will be asked to check to impute his NIN number. So it is that NIN number, that is the national identification number, that the code will check in the database to see if the NIN number is actually existing in the database. So if it is there, then the code will continue to, the user does not need to put year of birth because they can lie. But with this NIN number, NIN, you can't lie because you have already registered it with the government. So they know your year, they know date of birth, they know where you live, they know your age and everything. So the user will input the NIN number. Now this match row, df and so on, this line of code, we check if this NIN, and this is the one I have on my database, NIN, if it is containing what the person input in this NIN underscore, that is this NIN underscore. Yes, it will check this if this is equal to this, that is this now. If it is equal, then it will continue to execute the next line of code. But if not, it will prompt up this NIN number not found, please check and try again. So that is that. Now if not matched underscore row dot empty, that is all this surname, that the sur underscore name, f underscore name, this one represents surname, this one represents first name, this one represents year of birth. So I'm printing them all out here. So if any of these thing is not empty, if any of these variable is not empty, that is if my code checks this database and is not empty, we have the name, we have this surname, we have the name and so on. So they are not empty, we have the year of birth, so they are not empty, so the code will be executed. But if they are empty, it will raise an exception, and that is why it is placed in this try and accept code block, just to check for errors. Now to calculate the age, if PD, that is pandas now not null, that is the year of birth, if the year of birth is not empty, that is, let's say I put this NIN, it will check if this year of birth is not empty. If it's not empty, then the code will continue to execute. It will now calculate the age. You can see if. Now I'm still talking about if. I'll still talk about the indentation under them. Now you can see it will calculate the age, that is the present year that I declared here, minus the year of birth, that is here. The code will check it from the database here. Now once it calculates it, then it will print out the age of that person. Now another condition here now is if the age is greater than or equal to 18, print this. If the age is greater than or equal to 18, print this. That is, you are allowed to drive, the car will start now. But if it is not up to it, then it will print you are not allowed to drive. So now let me explain the indentation. As you can see for try here, for you to make indentation, just press tab on your system, the tab button. Now you can see that this if is indented. Before I start typing this if is indented, it's not directly under this try, and that's how, which means for in this place now, this code block we execute together. Now the if I'm typing here now, there are some other conditions too under it, and these are the conditions. It will check for all these conditions. So all these conditions are meant to be executed together. So indentation in Python select the block of code to be executed together, because what I have here is dependent on the things I have here. Now I also have another if here. Now the if I have here now is subject to this, because if the information here is not correct, this will not run. And you can see the way I have this if here now. Before I type this one, I press tab, so it will not run if this code did not run. So this age is to calculate this age here. Now if the age is greater than or equal to 18, it will print you are allowed to drive. If not, it will print you are not allowed to drive. So you can see the indentation. This if here is subject to this, and you can see the indentation. You can indent by just pressing your tab after this if here. So which means this code will be executed together, this code will be executed together, this code will be executed together, and the whole of this will be executed together. That is the essence of this indentation. Now you can see this else. This else now, if the NIN that is imputed here is not correct, then this else will spring up its own exception to say NIN number not found, please check and try again. So you can see how indentations work. Now this else now is directly under this if. This else is directly under this if, and so on. So this does not have any else, because I did not close the if statement. I'm closing for this one, but this one is closing everything. This else is closing everything, and this except line is closing for this try line. So that is how indentation works. Indentation helps you to structure your code the way you want them to be executed. So let me try and run this, and remember this is another file entirely. I'm going to open my command prompt. Let me just try and see if I can execute them. So Python space self .py. So it will also run the code line after line. Is asking for the NIN number. So I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just like the way I have them here. So I'm executing for Osime and Victor. So let me go back. I press enter. As you can see, Osime Victor, you were born in so in 1998. You are 27 years old. You are allowed to drive. The car will start now. And that is the condition I gave it here. That is the condition I gave it here. If the user is up to 18 and above, then he'll be allowed to drive. Or if not, the person will not be allowed to drive. And let's try somebody that is not up to 18 years. Okay, like this Cristiano Jr. Let me run it again. So number is 444. That's 10 digits. As you can see, Cristiano Ronaldo Jr., you were born in 2010, you are 15 years old, you are not allowed to drive. So you can see it's just a condition, but with more robust check-ins, with more robust security check, provided that we are using, we are assuming that we are using Internet of Things to control the car, to start the engine of the car. And let us put a number that is not existing in this database. Now let me put like maybe 555. It's Python. So I'm going to put 555, 10 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As you can see, NI number not found. Please check and try again, because the number is not in existence in our database. So the same way a country will not allow you to use their facility anyhow if you are not permitted, if you are not registered in a particular country to drive. If they check their database and you are not allowed, and they discover that you are not allowed to drive, they won't allow you to drive. Now if it's a car that is controlled via internet, definitely they will never allow you to start the car. So that is how um, indentation and also conditional statements, that's how they work. In case you missed any of my video, you can check me on YouTube, LinkedIn, and also GitHub, just to to catch up with this video, because I've explained some things about conditional logic in my last video, and some other things I used in this code like string and so on, and even the command prompts, how to navigate through the command prompts. So that is that for this video. Thank you.